everyone. So for my first video, I decided I would show off some of the projects that I'm kind of working on while I'm out here on vacation. Well, it's not really vacation. My husband's working currently here in Hawaii, and I'm here visiting him for the holidays, so I have a lot of time on my hands, and I brought a cross-stitch kit with me, but I did purchase a couple more while I was out here, just from the Walmart, because I haven't really come across any local needle shops. I did find one, but everything was so expensive, and I didn't really see anything that I really liked that really called out to me. So I'm still hoping to find another one. There is one that I've heard of that's on the other side of the island. So the next time we head over that way, I might stop in and check it out. I might get lucky. But for now, we've got these little kits. So this one's just a 6x6. It's Live, Love, Laugh. And already we've got a mistake made. But it's not my fault. The pattern, or the chart rather, is wrong. And I don't know if you can tell already, but right here, I'm sorry for the shaky camera, right here, this stitch, it's supposed to be red, based on the photograph of the finished product. But in the pattern, or the chart itself, it's pink. And I've already stitched quite a bit. I started with the pink, actually. Well, it's coral, but I started with the pink. Here's the back. And so it wouldn't be impossible to, unstitch. But there's just so much done, I wouldn't even know where to begin. I'm not sure what set of stitches or what thread group. I mean, if it was this group of threads or this one up here, I really don't know, because I started out with loop stitches, so I really don't know where the start of that group of stitches is. So I thought, well, since the flower itself is red, it's darker in color, so I'm gonna try and stitch over it. I've never stitched over another color before on a mistake. Usually when I catch it, it's something that I did wrong and it's noticeable and I notice it fairly quickly, but in this case, because I had stitched all the pink, it wasn't until I did the red that I realized, oh, that isn't right. So we're going to try and stitch over it, and hopefully it doesn't poof out too much or it's not ridiculously noticeable, but as it is right now, it's obvious that it's wrong, and I'm mad that I didn't catch it sooner, but it really, you wouldn't have noticed until, unless you stitched the red first, which I didn't do. So there's that. The other, we're gonna have a shaky camera again. The other project that I'm working on is this one. I don't know how long it's gonna take me to get this one done, because I haven't really been doing that. I've been working on the other one. This one is called Four Seasons Birds, and this is what I got done so far. And this one I've also done a mistake, and I'll explain what happened with this one. But here's the picture of the full design. I know it's kind of hard to see. Oh, there we go. I started right here, as you can see. What happened with this one is the blue there are half stitches, and then the green and the bird, they're in full stitches. And what's happened is I've made my half stitches the same direction as the top stitch of my cross stitches. So the reason I say that's wrong is because how I was taught, and according to the instructions that you get in your kits, or even instructions online, they always show that for a full cross stitch you go from the bottom left to the top right, and then from the bottom right to the top left to finish the square. And I actually got some instructions here. I'll show you the picture. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and if you're doing a bunch of crosses of the same color in the same row, let's see how that works. And then you can see that over here in the picture, it's the top cross goes from the bottom right to the top left. Now, you don't have to do it like this. You can switch it up. You can start from the bottom right and go to the top left, and then bottom left, top right. All that matters is that that top stitch, they all match. And then in the instructions for your half cross stitch, it shows that you go from the bottom left to the top right. So based on these, your top stitch, if you're doing full and half cross stitches, they should be going a different direction when they're done, which makes sense because if you're doing it correctly, your bottom stitch, which is a half stitch, should all match. If that makes any sense. I don't know if I'm explaining that very well. So, and the only reason I bring this up is because I did match them here. And it's not really going to make too much of a difference, and I had always wondered if you had to do it that way. And if you look at the pic, well, it's going to be hard on the picture, but on the finished design here, you can tell that, they go opposite, they don't match. So it's not going to hurt it any. I think really the only purpose of that, or the reason it's like it is it does add some dimension, or rather some depth, in the finished piece. So I don't think it really matters. It just means that because I've done so much, I can either unstitch all of that blue, which I really don't want to do because it was a lot, or just continue with the same thing throughout the whole piece. So that's probably what I'll do. So it'll be a little confusing, but it'll be alright. And again, the only reason I brought it up was it's funny. One of the forums that I frequent, I don't really post a lot on the forum, but I do read a lot of posts, and somebody was asking about one of their projects, and they thought their half stitches looked weird, so they posted up a picture, and it's got a mix of cross and half stitches, and somebody pointed out that the top leg of her cross stitches were going in the opposite direction of her half stitches. And so immediately this person, I believe they're a new stitcher, they were saying, oh no, did I do it wrong? And then, some other people chimed in, no, that's how I do it, but I always wondered if that was right or wrong. But according to all the instructions, and like I just showed you, that is the way you do it. And I believe it's done that way for a purpose. But overall, as most with anything, as long as you're happy with the finished design, it really doesn't matter. All that matters is whether you're happy with it or not. So that's kind of the saying on this forum. And the last one that I'm working on, this one's a little bit larger. This is what we have done. This one's called A Marriage Is. Picture. Here's the full picture. This is a little saying. Marriage is a friend for life, a lover's sweet embrace, a faithful partner one can trust and dreams to share and chase. And then down here you actually personalize with your own initials. That's what I got going on here. So, got that done. But I'm thinking that the one that's going to get finished for sure, and fairly soon, just because of the lack of colors, is this one. Or, I mean, not lack of colors, but you know, not so many colors. So yeah, so if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them below, and I hope to continue with the video making, and hope you enjoy. So like, subscribe, etc., and happy stitching, and I'll see you next time.